Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Elite City Podcast. It is just another two-man operation this week. Biddy is still out on work leave, and she will return probably next week. Is that the time frame?
I think so. I think it is. I hope so. We miss Biddy.
Yeah, same here. Yes, Biddy, we miss you, and we know you had fun, and we're that's why I kind of left you alone. Like, you needed a vacation, so enjoy it.
Yeah.
We're going to start off on the wrong foot on purpose because something happened today that we just need to address, and it's going to be addressed, and that's it, and it's never going to be spoke of again. Vince McMahon is a sexual predator, piece of garbage, and got more allegations against him in a very well, just very descriptive court case that it's not made up, it's not fake. He's an awful human being. Fuck you.
Yeah, the stuff I read in that today was worse than I imagined it could be, and I imagined it being bad. I know they're just allegations and nothing's proven, but it's horrible. This is beyond wrestling or entertainment or anything like that. It's disgusting. It's horrible. Anyone involved in that, anyone who knew anything about it, I hope they're all discovered. I hope they're all punished.
Yes.
I don't really want to talk about it. Beyond that, it's bad.
It's bad, and that's it. And that's all that will be said on it, and we will be moving along right now. So, Dynamite happened last night, and you noticed early on that it looked like they were using a weird camera, and then you found out that ticket sales were not well.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah, I know Meltzer was on somewhere. He has a million things that he does. I don't know what thing he's doing. He was on something talking about how ticket sales are like WCW in 2000, and he quickly pointed out that he doesn't mean the product is like WCW in 2000 or the state of the company is like WCW in 2000, but the ticket sales are bad, and they are. Like, I think they sold like 2,000 tickets or something for that show yesterday. It's not good. They managed to get around it by making it look okay.
Yeah,
like changing the cameras and whatever, but like, it's not good. It's not like I don't want to be like the people who think, oh, AEW is going out of business. AEW is a private company run by Tony Khan. It's in business as long as Tony Khan wants it to be in business, to be honest. Like, he's funding this himself.
Yes.
So like, as long as he thinks they can stay in business, they'll stay in business. But clearly you don't want to sell, less than 2,000 tickets for your top show. So that's our first topic. What do you think is the problem, or is there a problem, and what can they do?
Again, you brought it up last night, and I looked into it about 10 seconds this afternoon. So, I mean, I didn't do much research. I'm wondering if it's not necessarily fatigue, but I think they need to run, like, I don't want to say split the roster, because that's not what I'm getting at. It's, you need to run Collision and Dynamite not in the same areas on purpose every week, not do like a Southern tour where you're like, you're going like Oklahoma, Texas, doing the loop, but like they follow each other. So it's like every 3 months, virtually, you're coming back through, as opposed to like maybe when there was just one show, it was maybe once a year or every 6 months. Yeah. So that adds up. I mean, you brought up, like, you paid for a pay-per-view, then you turned around and paid for Dynamite.
Yeah, the cost is my reasoning. Like, obviously the situation was different. They're different arenas, whatever.
Right.
But like, when I went to, if you didn't know, I went to Forbidden Door last year.
Really?
I barely mentioned it to anyone. It was a very, I kept it quiet, man. I know, I kept it really quiet. I was pretty shy about sharing that information. But yeah, I went there last year, and like, the tickets I bought were like not great, but they were good seats. They were just farther back. And they were like something like Canadian dollars, like $65 or something like that, which was like a decent amount, a reasonable amount to pay for a wrestling pay-per-view. I thought that was a good price. Right. But like, the cheapest Dynamite ones now available are like 90 something. And I know it's a smaller arena, so that's technically they're closer, right? They are closer to the ring but like, that's Dynamite. So you shouldn't be paying more to see Dynamite than one of their biggest shows of the year.
And not that long ago, like last April, when Biddy and I went to Dynamite, it was both tickets were $88. Like not a piece. Like they were $44 with fees. Like it was
right.
And then to be like, now that's like literally half price for one ticket. Now $45 is half price. That's,
I feel like maybe someone did the math and figured out like, oh, we can have 2,000 people paying $90, or we can have 5,000 people paying $40, and we'd rather have. I disagree with it, but I think maybe they figured, oh, if we have we can get fewer people but make the same amount of money.
That's what pro sports did in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, they priced out a whole group of people, but the people that were there were the hardcore loyal going insane.
Right.
So,
I mean, it is pricing people out though, especially like with the current times when like everything's more expensive.
And
you might not want to go if it's, first of all, you're right. They were just there 6 months ago or 5 months ago or whatever.
Right.
Plus it's going to cost twice as much this time than the last time you went. So maybe you don't go.
And like, I mean, for me, it's nothing. It's me by myself, or, I met Biddy there or whatever. But like, if you and your family went, it would be $300
right
to just get in the door. Well, there's no merch. Sorry. So you wouldn't have to worry about that.
That's the one thing I saw some people saying online is, oh, they should charge less and then make it up in merch. And like, they don't have enough merch. Like, they don't make anything up in merch. They sell 10 shirts and that's it. That's their allotted amount for the day.
Yeah. I never thought of that either. That could also be the reason for the ticket prices being so high.
Because they don't make it up in merch.
They don't make it up in merch, which people really want. And it's just non-existent in AEW shows.
I don't understand it. I know I've been on this rant before, but like the shirts when I went there were $50 for a shirt, which is a lot for a t-shirt. But like I was gonna buy a shirt because I was there, right? So I'm like, oh, you're there, you're in the mood, you're like, you just saw some wrestling, you think you're like excited. You'll spend $50. You'll spend $100, $150. You might buy a couple shirts, right? Because you're there. You would also pay $20 for a beer when you wouldn't do that anywhere else, right? Exactly. So like, you're gonna do it. By the time you get home, and you're not gonna like, you're not in that mood anymore. Like the next day to be like, I'm gonna order online. Like now you're out. Now, oh, I'm gonna get this shirt in 3 weeks. Like that's not cool. And like now you're not excited anymore, right? Like it's it's not the same.
It's the impulse buy at the checkout at the grocery store. It's like, you could go 3 aisles over and buy 9 packs of gum for the price of the one pack right there. But you're right there. You're gonna buy that one.
It's like the $20 beer at the concert. Like you wouldn't spend $20 to buy beer at a store,
especially like a Miller Lite.
Right, but you'll do it there because you're there and you're like, oh, I'll have a beer. But like if you went to the liquor store, the grocery store, you're like, I want to buy a beer, and they're like, it's $20 each. You're like, no, I'm not going to do that.
And at least Canadian beer it's higher alcohol, so I would pay $20 for a Canadian beer. Not no 4%. Anyways,
but I think you're right about the touring, because sometimes they have Collision and Dynamite, like not necessarily in the same town, but like one town over. And you're not going to go to, if Collision came once a year and Dynamite came once a year and they were in neighboring towns, you might go to both.
Right.
But if they're coming at the same time, you're like, I just saw wrestling on Wednesday, I'm not going again on Saturday.
Right. And then if it's on the 6-month loop, like, oh, I'm going to spend another $200 in the summer, or, it's every fall and winter or whatever. Like, I think they totally need to.
None of this applies to Chicago, by the way. You can keep having shows in Chicago and anyone will go.
Yes, that is the verifiable rule for AEW.
New Japan is having a show in Chicago that instantly sold out. Like they will go to anything in Chicago.
It's true. I don't know why. I mean, obviously they're big wrestling fans. I wonder if it's because, and another thing, there actually can run a real arena with like real parking and like a lot of places get screwed because, again, back to WWE stuff, they have contracts with Ticketmaster and the arenas.
Right.
So
I saw another point that I kind of agreed with when you were pointing out when they're splitting up the roster, and it reminded me of this. Is the problem that you don't know who you're going to see?
That could be too. Yeah.
Because Dynamite's like AEW's roster is big, right? So it's like
true.
When they come to Canada, you're probably going to see Christian or Adam Copeland now or Jericho, right? Like,
Right.
But like, and when they go to Pittsburgh, you're going to see Britt Baker unless she's injured, right? But like in some towns where there isn't a wrestler from the town, for example,
right?
I can't think of one, but like if they went to like Chicago now, outside of Sky Blue, they don't have, CM Punk's not here anymore. So like, you don't know who you're going to see. Are you going to see Adam Copeland? Like, if you really want to see Adam Copeland, is he going to be there? He might not, because he's not on every show.
Right. And you don't know where guys and girls are going to be. Like, Danielson could just be like, I'm going to Japan, and then like not be here for a month. Yeah, that's true. I never thought.
Like, if your favorite wrestler is Bryan Danielson, your favorite wrestler is Jon Moxley or whoever, like, people get injured, but would it help to say, like, to hype up the events in advance? Even one thing WWE does that's good is they'll do like a main event dark match after the show. So like, even if Roman Reigns isn't on the SmackDown episode you're seeing, after SmackDown's off the air, there's going to be a Roman Reigns like tag match,
right?
Just so you can see him you can see him if you wanted to see him. Whereas, you don't know. Like, Danielson could just be in Japan for a month, and you don't know that until that month, right? So, and maybe they'll have to do that.
That's true. And if you notice, like, they don't release the card until like that day. So you do fly blind unless it's a pay-per-view, because obviously there's a build, like, what you're getting into. But for Collision and Dynamite, you literally only know what they tell you until the day of the show.
Yeah, they're just counting on Collision or Dynamite being the selling point.
Yeah. Because like, go ahead.
Not any particular wrestler is all I was going to say. So like, maybe if they split it, then you'd be more likely to see that person. Like when it was the soft brand split, when I went to Collision, I was 99% sure CM Punk was going to be there.
Right. And FTR
and FTR and House of Black, like that was their show that they were always on. At Ricky Starks, you knew that they were going to, but now you don't really know that anymore because they're not split in that manner.
Yeah. And maybe that, like, I hate to say like brand split, because I don't think they need that, but just maybe if they do like I don't even know how to do it, but like you have to do something where they're in different places. I kind of
liked the soft split that they had.
Around.
I mean, I don't like necessarily the circumstances as to why they did it, because Punk just hated half the roster.
Right.
But I liked the idea of like, House of Black isn't locked to Collision. Sometimes they might be on Dynamite.
Right.
But they're mostly going to be, and maybe that'll switch. Maybe, if it had gone long enough, maybe 6 months in, they start showing up on Dynamite and we move the Acclaimed to Collision or something, right? And it just kind of goes that way.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
And they're not fixed. Like if you're allowed to be on the other show, unless CM Punk doesn't ban you from the building.
Right.
Otherwise, you're allowed to be on the show. It just, they're not necessarily like they're primarily on that show.
I'm okay with that. And I mean, they need to do something because I mean, like you said, if someone did the math, like, I mean, if they're okay with that, I'm okay with it. I don't care how many people show up, honestly.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Like the last night's show didn't have many people. I still liked it. Like it doesn't really matter to me. But
and that's another thing. Like, again, I hate to say this, I'm gonna sound like an old man. Is even going to an event, like, does that even matter anymore? Seriously.
Right.
Like, are they more concerned with, we're getting 2,000 people in the door, but we're getting, I don't know what the ratings were this week, so I'm going to make up a number. We're getting 800,000 in America in views.
Right.
Plus X amount on YouTube. Like, I wonder if that is now becoming the buffer of attendance really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the case with WWE for the longest time. I mean, now their attendance is doing pretty well.
Right.
But for the longest time, like, Raw didn't matter, really. Like, the people going to Raw, like, they had a television contract where they would make however many millions of dollars for, and, like, as long as Raw aired, it didn't particularly matter if anyone was even at the show.
Right. So, yeah, like, I wonder if that is now becoming part of, like, analytics of running a wrestling/sporting company.
Right.
That's an interesting metric.
And things go in cycles. Like, it's
true.
Like, a year ago, 2 years ago, AEW was hot, and I remember seeing shots of like WWE crowds where half the building was empty.
Right.
So that doesn't mean it's not going to change again. Like I there's episodes of Raw from the early 90s before the Attitude Era that were like shot in like high school gyms. So
yeah, I mean they used to run that New York ballroom every week that held about 1,000 people.
Yeah.
So literally,
just because things are down now doesn't mean they're going to be down forever.
Yeah. And if things start to go the way of, we're not selling tickets anywhere, Tony Khan will just like, don't forget they own the stadium or the
right.
So he'll just run shows at Daly's place and give tickets away if he has to and make all the money in the world.
Yeah.
So
it would kind of be cool to see them go to some smaller venues more often. I know there's reasons they don't, like lighting and the set and cameras and stuff like that. Like it's harder to fit, but like it would be kind of cool for them to go to like that ballroom in New York or like whatever the ECW arena is called now. Like it'd be kind of cool for them to go to like. Do you remember Shotgun Saturday Night? It didn't last. Yeah. Like the original Shotgun Saturday Night.
Yeah.
Where it was shot in like clubs.
Yeah. And I was going to say it was like in bars.
Yeah, they shouldn't do that all the time, but it'd be kind of cool to do it once in a while.
That would be sick. That would be super cool. Like, that'd be awesome.
Or like when WCW would go to spring break, like that was a smart Bischoff idea. We don't have to sell tickets. We just like let college kids who are on spring break just come to the show, and they'll be loud and it'll be fun.
And you're gonna make like, I don't know, say 5,000 show up. Like you're gonna make at least 1,000 new fans.
Right.
Like just by general math, you know, like
just be, that was really fun. I'm going to watch that next week. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. When we're back home on campus, let's do that. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, back on track. Samoa Joe. Speaking of CM Punk, Samoa Joe, he did a little in-ring at the beginning, and
Joe is so cool.
He's so cool. And it basically sat down and explained how the rankings is going to work again, in case you're new, because AEW did get rid of their weekly rankings that they used to have.
Yeah.
So you're going to see and I had a thought, so I'm going to say this and I'm going to jump right into my thought, and I'm going to see what you have to say about it. You're going to have less, I don't want to say matches that mean anything, because they mean something, because your wins and losses mean things, but you're going to have less story driven matches now and more contest driven matches for wins and losses. Like that's why you had Penta and Hangman and Swerve and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
You know, like people were like, oh, why are they having those? Because, you know, that there could have been an upset. Penta and Hangman were both undefeated.
Penta was like 2-0 and
Yeah. So like those were big time matches for a title picture. Now, here's my thought. Since they're doing that with the men's division, do you think that opens up deep stories for the women's division? Because you can have, we'll just use the two matches from last night that I said. You can have a Penta and Hangman match and a Swerve and Jeff Hardy match. And now last night, those matches were a little bit on the longer side, but just, you know, for sake of argument here, those matches could take up 10 minutes. Then you could have like the Deonna and Toni Storm sit down. You could have 1 10-minute women's segment, and then maybe a 15-minute women's match, and then another, you know, 2 male wrestlers, say. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, they don't necessarily have to be making sense on the male side, because now you have the rankings back, and on the female side, you can, with a smaller roster, you could get them all involved and have meaningful long stories.
Yeah, it's something that I've complained about a while ago, like a lot. AEW's matches don't always need to be as long as they are.
Yeah.
They have a lot of like, all their matches are 15, 20 minutes. And like, they're good matches. I'm not saying they're not, but like, not every match needs to be like, even if this was a sport, right? Like, not every boxing match or UFC fight goes the distance. Some of them end in 5 minutes and some of them end in 10. And like, that's not, I wouldn't even consider that a squash. If a match ends in 7 minutes, sometimes, I'm not saying every match should be. I'm not saying this is the Attitude Era or matches are done in 2 minutes and we move on. But some matches, why not have a match be 7 minutes and not a squash? Just like a guy gets hit with a good move and it ends. Like, I think they should do that a bit more often, because if they're trying to make it like a sport, which it seems like they are, that does happen sometimes.
And I think I think they're going to lean into that heavy, because then you can have more moments like Action Andretti and Jericho.
Right.
Like, you know,
and
it's
the
not
rankings
going to
make it more important, because if you're ranked second, say, and you're facing a guy who's ranked 10th and he beats you in 7 minutes, then that bolts him up the ranking. Like, that means something.
Yeah.
Whereas before it might have just been, oh, Jeff Hardy. Like, yeah, who cares if you lose to Jeff Hardy, right? But now it means something.
And they did say on the show that I think they're gonna make them, like, they're gonna do the rankings live every week on Collision, or at least that's what they made it sound like.
Okay.
So that will be really fun, because that's obviously going to be a segment, and you're going to have like, I just looked down and I just wrote Orange Cassidy down, just like, you know, he finds out that Chuck Taylor's like number 2 for the international title, and he's just like, oh man, I have to fight my buddy now. Like, you're going to have those moments where it's just like those, oh geez, now we have to fight moments. That's going to be fun.
And I like the rankings more now. I liked them before, but I like them more now without Dark and Elevation. I hope it only stays on AEW. I hope they don't count ROH or anything else. I hope it's just like Collision and Rampage and Dynamite.
Yes.
Because the problem was when they went Dark and Elevation, if you don't watch those shows, which a lot of people didn't, I didn't. I remember Britt Baker, when she wanted to challenge for the women's title, she was like, 6-3 or something, and then suddenly she was 28-3, and I'm like, well, I haven't seen her in 2 months, and suddenly now she's ranked number 1, right? So it's I like it better, like, oh, you're gonna see all these matches, and someone will just suddenly have 20 more wins than they had the last time you saw them, because they'll be on Dynamite or Collision.
Yeah, so I'm with you 100% on that. I hope.
And I know people are going to complain about the rankings, because like they complained about they complained about the C2, right? Like,
of course, yeah.
The rankings. What I hope they do is, I think what they did last time, and what I hope they do and think they will do, is your rank isn't the be all end all of it, because they've always said like the quality of your competition matters, right? So if 2 guys are both 10-0, oh, who did you beat? Oh, all the other guys you beat were winless in their last 8 matches. Oh, all the other guys you beat were in the top 10. So your rankings, you're ranked more highly, even though your records are the same.
Yeah, and as soon as you said that, I instantly thought of course it's going to happen. You're going to have some heel, like, I don't know, or someone funny like Danhausen. It'll be like December, and he'll be like, I'm undefeated. And they'll be like, you wrestled twice this year. You're 2-0. He's like, yes, I'm undefeated for the entire year. Like, someone is going to do that. And
I also want to see someone only ask for matches against people who are like, it's terrible. Terrible. Like, they're all like, they only want matches against people who have losing records. So then they can go, no, look, I won my last 20 matches. And then like, yeah, but all you guys beat combined had like 3 total wins.
Again, Danhausen, that's the greatest gimmick. Like, that would be amazing.
Like a good storyline vehicle. Like, they could use
that. Yeah, it is.
Like, when they say they want it to be more sports oriented, some people get upset, being like, oh, but I like storylines. Like, I want to see storyline. That sports focus doesn't necessarily mean no storylines. It just means the storylines come from the sport, not because C2. 2 of you had an argument backstage necessarily.
Right.
The storylines come from your match. Like Danielson and Eddie right now, like their story is coming from their matches that they had.
Yeah. And I mean, the C2 everybody in it came out of it. I mean, even the people that like Jay Lethal and Briscoe, they didn't do the best, but they came out hotter than they were.
Well, like Danny Garcia, he only won 1 match, but like it mattered.
And look what it did. You know, this is going to be very fun.
I want to see how they deal with the rankings, because they have a lot of titles now. The last time they had it, they didn't have as many titles. So it'll be interesting. Like, are there men's rankings, say, or is it just men's rankings, or are there going to be rankings underneath the world title and underneath the international title and underneath the, I don't even remember the titles anymore, the TNT title? Like, are they going to have their own rankings, or like, does number 3 mean you're ranked number 1 for the TNT title, say?
I can't remember how they did it last time.
I don't remember how they did it before.
I think each one, like the champion was the number 1, and then each one had its own. Yeah, each one had its own, because there would be like, I'm just going to use best friends again. Like, Trent had a singles record, had a tag record with Chuck Taylor, and also had a tag record with Rocky Romero.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just going to be, if they do it that way, I think it's going to be the champions are their own, like it'll be like their division.
Yeah. I can see how it gets confusing because now then you have to like, oh, does a 6-3 record, does that get you a TNT title shot or an international title shot? Like, which one's better? They've never really clarified, right? Which one is?
Well, that's a good point right there.
So the TNT title, I think, has always kind of been an open challenge title until Christian had it. So maybe it's going to be excluded from this. I don't know. It'll be fun to see.
Yeah, we talked about this during the show yesterday. It brings us right back to Joe, which it was a good segue inadvertently. I like in AEW how when there's a new champion in any division, it's a wild card. Like they let, I mean, obviously it's not a wild card. Like obviously it's part of the story, but you get to choose. Like I loved when House of Black had it in the House Rules, and now that went on to Julia. Like I hope like that's so cool.
And some champions want to defend their titles more, some don't want to.
Right.
Toni Storm is kind of just like, I don't feel like it. Right. Like, yeah.
I love it. I think that's a really cool, just to be different, a little different.
Joe is only willing to accept like worthy opponents.
Right. Speaking of worthy opponents, last week we talked about Hook became a made man. How did you feel about the little one-on-one they had in the ring?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I want to know what they're gonna. I want to know what they're gonna do with Hook next because they've obviously moved on to like Hangman and Swerve, which is good. Like I don't have a problem with that. I want to know where Hook goes next, because he doesn't really have a spot. Like he's not gonna fight Orange, I don't think, unless that's where they go. But I don't think he will. The TNT titles kind of
would be amazing. Would be amazing because his dad's Taz.
Yeah. I mean, it would be fun, but
imagine Christian just be raiding Taz. Actually, Taz would probably kill him.
Yeah, that would actually be fun if, like, or Christian just started making fun of his dad, and Taz just comes up and is like, "I'm right here."
Oh, that would be amazing. So yeah, Joe, he cemented his legacy. He put his flag in the ground last night, and this is going to be a fun run. I don't care if it ends at Revolution, like people are saying. I don't like it. It could, and that'll be fine, or it could go until summer. I don't care. Like Joe,
I'm fine with it.
Joe's an awesome champion right now.
Yeah.
Now our first match of the night. We're gonna touch on the matches very loosely here. Penta and Hangman. They were both 2 or 3-0 on the year. Or one was 3-0, one was 2-0, whatever. So it gave Penta his first loss. Hangman Page now looks like Magnum TA.
He looks like he walked out. He walked out of the 80s into like current wrestling.
Yes,
and not in a bad way. Like I like it, but he looks like he walked out of the 80s.
I was just gonna say, not in a Lexi King way. like actual like, yeah, he looks like Magnum TA.
Yeah, he does.
Joe on commentary, I mean,
it was the best.
During
the picture-in-picture, he was just like yelling insults at Hangman. It was
great. I'm so jealous that you get like the good commentary, because that's what the commentary used to be like on Dark and Elevation, because they would let Az and Excalibur do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
So it's so good. It is very fun.
The matches did seem random to me, but now that you pointed out, it's for ranking, then it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, their message, all they had to do was say that, and like they kind of did, but like hammer it out, just literally make it plain as day. Say, hey, this is this, and this is why.
Yeah, I get they don't want to be WWE where they repeat things 5,000 times. I get it. But they have to explain things a little bit.
Yes. Or just like make the point to say it. Like, hey, this match is this. Anyways, very, very good match. Again, it was a little long. And me and you talked about, Tony Khan's love of Japanese wrestling, and 15 minute matches in Japan are like, it might as well be 2 seconds.
Right.
So again, I love the product. There was nothing wrong with this match. It could have been, if it was 15, it could have been 7.5. We'll see.
Yeah, for me, that was most of the show. Like all the matches were good. I had no problem with anything that happened on the show. But like you could have cut 10% off of each of those.
Yeah, totally.
And it would have been perfectly fine. And then you could have put something else on. And I don't want Attitude Era match.
Right.
Like, I'm not asking for that. But you have a huge roster. You have a lot of people who aren't necessarily always on TV. Like, cut everything down by 2 minutes. If you cut 5 matches by 2 minutes, you have 10 more minutes to do something else.
Right. And that could be another match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
So Orange Cassidy I had a segment with Renee, and I love how he points out that him and Roddy Strong are going to fight for the international title at Revolution, but he like points out, he's like, I don't know why we have to wait another 6 weeks. Like,
yeah, I like that.
I challenged you Saturday.
Yeah, I like that. Like that.
And just him and Renee are like, if they could somehow get Renee, RJ City, and Orange Cassidy to sit down and have anything, that would be amazing. Yes.
I love what he was just like, you seen Wardlow?
Yeah.
Pretty big.
Pretty big. And just walked away.
And Renee's like, yes, I have seen Wardlow. He is big.
Yeah, it's like Orange Cassidy just found out who he was. He's like, oh my God, Trent, did you see the guy Trent's wrestling?
That was great.
That was
hilarious.
Yes. We've talked about it a million times, but Orange Cassidy, like Danhausen and Will Ospreay, they know their characters, and that's exactly how Orange Cassidy would have reacted.
Yeah.
They're so good at it.
Yeah, for
sure. Again, we had Wardlow versus Trent. I said this a little bit earlier. I thought this match was way too long. Not that it needed to be a squash, but like you said, it could have been 5 minutes. And Wardlow's new finisher, just a single power bomb, I actually like that. I will say that I enjoyed that.
Yeah, the power bomb symphony was cool, but it got old.
Yeah.
And I like this better. You were saying during the show last night, which I agree with, Wardlow has to do something else.
Yes.
Like if he's just going to come and every one of his matches is going to be a 10-minute beatdown and then he hits that'll get old real fast.
Yeah. I even think I said to you, like, make him lose a little bit. Make him be the Wheeler Yuta of the group for a little bit. Yeah. Like give him some turmoil to overcome. Give him something to get over.
Yeah.
Like,
and then he has to be like, oh, I had it so easy before and now it's not. I have to do something. I have to change something. I have to do something else.
Like what am I doing wrong? Like I used to destroy everybody. Now I'm getting beat. Like, like give him a challenge.
Yeah.
But probably the highlight of my night, because it made you happy and I know you hated it, was the Young Bucks. And you said you hope they went 100% into their characters last week. Well, I want your opinion. Was that 100%?
I actually liked it. I thought it was.
Was that 100% enough?
Yeah. Them backstage being like kind of smarmy.
Yes.
Just being like, what are you guys doing late? Oh no, we're just kidding. Like it worked for me. Like that was like, they were funny. And I like that. Oh, we're actually jerks, but like, we're going to act like we're friendly.
Yes.
In front of your face, but we're actually jerks. I liked it. I thought it was fun. That, and later when they showed them backstage being like, what a terrible shot. And then we're like, hey, but like, I like that. They did a good job yesterday. I don't usually compliment their like character stuff, but it was fun. I liked it.
And I hope Matt's facial hair changes every week, because he had the goatee this week. I hope he has something like, literally, I hope it's just like his big sideburns or something next week. Like,
yeah. And I hope they start complaining about really dumb things. Like how were they complaining that they weren't like in their gear when like they didn't need to be because they weren't wrestling. Right. I hope they start complaining about like really like lighting. Like I hope they do an interview like that light shouldn't be here, and like just mad about that, or like, I told you not to hold the camera that way. Like just weird stuff. Like I hope they do that. The music wasn't played at the right volume. Like I hope that's where they go.
Just start yelling at like the crew. Oh,
just like mad at the crew. Like, you should have shot. You missed this move. Shoot it better. Like, yeah.
Oh, now see, I hope that starts to happen. Like they'll be in an interview and like the cameraman will miss like them walking in or something, so they have to do it again, and they'll be like, "This is live, buddy."
Yeah.
Oh, I hope that happens.
I hope they do that. That would be kind of fun.
Okay, now my question to you is, obviously the Young Bucks versus Sting and Darby.
Yes.
They're 100% going to do the I love you Shawn Michaels Ric Flair thing.
Yeah, that's true.
They're going to do that, right?
Yeah, it's the Young Bucks. That would make sense.
It'll be so awesome. Because, I mean, it's a super kick, too. And they're both going to go, I love you. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to make so many people mad. Anyways.
No, I liked them yesterday. I like, if that's the way they're going to go, that's better. I like it better.
Yeah, and Nick wearing a full royal blue suit with no shirt and a vest underneath was the happiest moment of my life. It was amazing. Then we had probably one of the biggest women's segments in a very long time in AEW. Renee had to sit down with Deonna Purrazzo and Toni Storm. And
yeah, you said it right. Good job.
I know it took me a lot. I have to look at her name because it ends in an A, and I know that the last name ends in an O. Then, so I had to look down because I didn't want to call her like Deonna. But anyways,
what does Tony call her? Deonna Purrazzo?
Yeah, Deonna Palazzi or something. Which then Tony Schiavone said last week, and it was incredible. Anyways. Kudos to the production team for cutting the screen 50% black and white.
That was amazing. Showing Toni Storm in black and white, and it was kind of grainy, like some grain went through it once. It was great. I loved it.
It was so good, and
that must have taken some like proper camera. Like the camera had to be in the exact right spot. Everyone had to be in their exact right position for that to work, and it was cool.
Yeah, that was really well done. I mean, we got a little bit of a backstory on I didn't know that they were former roommates and lived together. Yeah. And I mean, this is going to be fun. They have matching tattoos of drunken ducks. Incredible.
I like because they showed the tattoos, but I thought was a cool twist that I didn't know they had matching tattoos. So that
same
cool.
Here.
But I looked it up because I was like, is that a duck? So I looked up Toni Storm, Deonna Purrazzo tattoo. And like, there's a story about they went to like Lollapalooza or something.
Download Festival.
Download Festival.
Yeah.
And they were giving out free tattoos, and there was only like a certain selection of tattoos they could get. So they're like, let's get a drunk duck holding a beer. So they both have drunk ducks holding beers on their
Amazing
ankles.
tattoo. Again, we talk about it every week. Deonna she's great. She has it, and she is going to be mega huge.
That brings me something that I wanted to ask.
Let's go.
Just showed up, right? She just came into AEW. She's had like what, one match, two matches? I don't remember now.
One.
But with the rankings, not the rankings don't start till February, so it makes sense that she's challenged. But like with the rankings going forward, someone can't just walk in and get a title shot like that anymore.
True.
So how do they like if Mercedes showed up or Okada showed up, are they gonna have to make them fight 20 squash matches before they get into the title picture?
No, they'll have like we'll use Okada. They'll have him like wrestle Danielson, who will be ranked obviously in the top 2 or 3, and we'll say Okada's 10, and that'll jump him up to like 5 and bring Danielson down. Then he'll fight the next number 2. Like they'll do it that way. Like
yeah, that's true.
Since, like you said, since the quality of your opponent matters too, they'll do a lot of, here's a super mega match, or a qualifier or something.
I guess they can still do that. They can still do the qualifier matches, whatever they're called, where they have the eliminator matches.
You got to last either 10 minutes or pin the champion. Yeah, which will make eliminator matches actually more dangerous now,
right?
Because you can not only lose as the champion, but then you have the number 1 contender and somebody else vying for. That's a nice little wrinkle.
There are a lot of cool places they can go with the rankings for sure.
Yeah, and especially because I mean, I don't ever remember wrestling using it and like actually using it the way that rankings work. Like like back in the like. They would tell you that like Andre the Giant, he hadn't lost in 17 years. Like, but really, did he? Like, I mean, honestly. Anyway, so yeah, it's going to be very fun. Did you see the Instagram Toni Storm post interview?
No, you sent it to me. I didn't watch it yet.
Okay, I won't spoil it for you. Just when we're done here tonight, watch it. Hilarious.
She's great. We've talked about her every week, but she's great. I love Toni Storm.
The next thing that I thought of this last night during the show, whenever they brought the cardboard Juice in the ring, I want, when Juice comes back, him to see Toni and be like, honey, what are you doing? And she's like, who are you? She's like, I'm your husband. Like, we're married. Like, and just because he has that awkward, like, he'd play the straight man perfectly. Like,
yeah,
no, like, Toni, for real. Like, well, what is this? I've been gone like a month. What happened?
Yeah.
I hope that happens. Anyways, Mox had a pre-tape promo and basically took 2 minutes to send shots at CM Punk.
Yeah.
And a message to anybody else signing with the company that if you come here and you think that the company is below you and you think you're deserving of certain things, it's not like that here. You will be told to leave.
Yeah. I love Mox. I think he's great. I like his promos. I like how he's like the kind of defends AEW with everything he does. I love it.
Yes.
I want him to do something meaningful though. He's kind of just been like, and maybe this is what he wants. Like he's kind of just been having like matches. Like he'll have a match with whoever, and then the next week he'll have a match with someone else. Next week, and like they're all good matches. But I want him to do something bigger at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And what that
like the whole BCC kind of needs to do that. Like they haven't done much in a while.
And you know, like I don't want to say there's like fatigue there, but like I don't know if it necessarily needs blown up, but maybe again give them a little bit of turmoil. Like have Danielson and Mox like get into it and put Claudio and Wheeler in the middle. Like just for a
Mox, who was it? Mox on Collision said something like, "I'll take on anybody, whether you're on my team or not," something like that. Like maybe that's going somewhere.
True. AEW likes it. Well, Tony Khan likes to do that. Like, if you don't pay attention, like something like that, like, you know, in 2 weeks, like, oh yeah, Mox said that. It's almost like watching like a Wes Anderson movie. Like if you don't pay 100% attention, you'll miss the smallest things. Sorry, that was a very odd reference to make if you're not a movie nerd like myself. Anyways. Yeah,
I hope Mox does something. I hope Mox is in like a big storyline with somebody.
Yeah, agreed. And
based on his promos of like, if you don't, take this company seriously, or you think you're better than us, like I hope there's someone there is someone who doesn't take the company seriously or thinks he is better than them, and I hope he gets in a feud with Mox. Like that would be fun.
Oh, that would be, and I hope it's not Jericho. Like,
oh, it better not be Jericho.
And I just ruined.
I was thinking, I hope it's Miro. Miro would be cool.
Oh, Miro would be awesome
because they could play off the like. He's not happy. He he's never around. He just wants to collect a paycheck, like that kind of thing.
I mean, like you said, when he was in WWE, he bought real estate, so he really probably doesn't care.
Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't. Right. I'm sure he's like, oh, they keep paying me, that's fine. Go for it. Like this is a business, right? So. Yeah,
and honestly, like you get to see the world on another man's dime. Like, yeah, you're not on TV every week, but you're in a different city.
His wife works there too. Like they just hang out.
Yeah, get to hang out with your wife and be rich, like, and see the world and not pay for anything. Like, geez, sign me up.
Go for
it. Yeah. We had Johnny
Speaking
TV.
of husband and wives.
Yeah, speaking of husband, good segue, dude.
Thanks.
Taya Valkyrie Taya Valkyrie and Johnny TV had a little segment before we went into a commercial break, and Taya challenged Deonna for tomorrow night, not tonight, for Saturday night on Collision. I think that match is going to be awesome. And she basically said what you said earlier, like, who do you think you are just rolling in here? Like, I've been here for a minute and you're all of a sudden above me. No, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
Several
women's segments this week.
Yes.
I liked it.
Yeah. And Taya, and leaning into real sports, like Taya was like, I know who you are. Like the world knows that we know each other. Like, I love that they're letting history be like real history, and these people like, yes, they know each other, and yes, they were or are
like
friends.
Actual people who've done things for years. Yeah.
Yeah, like we always talk about like hockey. Like, yeah, they fight each other on the ice, but like afterwards, like they're friends. Like that's their job.
Right.
and
I know they're. I think you said they're married. I
yes.
like them as an on-screen couple. They're like both kind of annoying.
Yes.
Like they're both full of themselves. Like I like it. They work pretty well together.
And just off top. Well, it's on topic, but funny. There's an interview. I'll send it to you after. I think it's with that Chris Valet, however you say his name. Yeah. She talks about how Johnny puts whatever as his last name. He also does it at home, and he'll be like, "Oh, it's time for Johnny Yardwork to cut the grass," and that made me like him more. And she was like, funny. "It's the most annoying thing." Like, we're like, "Oh, Johnny Breakfast is gonna go make some sausage."
That's good.
Yeah,
now I want him to change his last name more. Now I want it to be like Johnny No DQ when he's in a no DQ match. Like,
yes, please. Oh, when
Johnny ladder match, when they have a ladder match, like just that'd be fun.
Oh, it's the little things. And if you don't think that's funny, there's something the matter with you, because it's hilarious. At the top of the hour, the 9:00 hour, we had Swerve versus Jeff Hardy. And me and you talked about this match was way better than expected.
Yeah.
And I like
Jeff Hardy's best match in AEW for sure.
For sure. And basically a little like, hey, don't forget about me over here. I know how to do this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a typical Jeff Hardy match. Like, I mean, yeah, they did like high spots and everything, but it wasn't all that. Like, there was a whole solid center part of that match that was not chain wrestling, but not Jeff Hardy wrestling.
Yeah, it made me think that maybe he's realized he's older and he can't base his whole career off jumping off stuff anymore, because he's however old he is, and that's not going to work anymore. Yeah. And like he's like 40, so he can't beat Jeff Hardy when he was like from 20 years ago. So yeah, adapt, and that's good. Like, it was a good match. I liked it. When it happened, I was just like, I hope it's 5 minutes long, because Swerve's gonna win.
Same.
And I don't really care. But it was a good match. I liked it. And Swerve is super over.
Super over. Jeff Hardy's 2 years older than me. He's 46. That's
unbelievable
that he could do that at 46.
Sting is 65 or something. So.
Well, that's also true. You know, also true. So there's none that I could even say to that. You're correct.
But yeah, good match. I liked it. I love Swerve.
Yes,
I'm happy. It was good. It's good.
Yeah,
good all around.
And then we followed that up with another Renee segment with Hangman, and again, Swerve is just so cool.
Yeah,
he just like
Hangman getting flustered and just yelling, "Knew me."
Yeah, yeah, that was amazing.
I don't know if he was supposed to do that or if he just like legitimately got flustered and yelled something, but it was good.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah.
Two things that were awesome. Swerve just walking into the shot like, oh, I'm so cool, like I'm gonna break the rules and just walk onto a live television spot.
Yeah.
And then him at the end telling him, "No, go ahead, I'll step out."
Right.
It was the coolest thing to say.
Swerve is so cool.
It made it super awkward for Hangman to just stand there. It was so well done. And we learned right after that from Renee that we were going to have the dealer's choice matches where, okay, I don't know if I understand this. Are they picking each other's opponents, or are they picking the style of match?
I don't know. They just said they're picking the match. I don't know if they meant the opponent or the type of match. I have no idea.
Same here, because like you said yesterday, your choice would be you have to fight everybody on the roster.
Right. You have to fight the whole roster and pin every one of them for a 100 count. But they can pin you for 1 count and the match is over. Oh, and if you lose, you're fired from AEW.
Like why wouldn't you do that?
So in every there's no guidance here. Just throw in every stipulation possible.
Yeah, and you also have to wrestle tied to the mat somehow.
There's a good luck. Tank coming towards you, and you have to win the match before the tank runs you over.
Did I mention you're wearing cement shoes? Yeah, so like that will be fun, and that's first Collision, or for
next week's Dynamite.
Next week's Dynamite. Okay. So both matches are on Dynamite. Okay.
Yes.
We had Thunder Rosa and Red Velvet. Rosa, I hate to do it, Thunder. You shouldn't have got new music. The new music, it there's no vibe.
I guess they wanted it to have more of like a
agreed,
like a Latin feel or something to it. But I loved the Thunder Rosa. That was cool.
Yeah, like you went from like you said, like I get it, but you went from that to that.
Yeah, like it's a fine entrance, but like just because of the other one was so good.
Right. And this will grow on me. And
if she debuted with this theme, it'd be fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not.
Not the old one.
Not the old one, right?
Yeah.
If she's definitely got a little more cardio back.
Yeah. I think this is probably Red Velvet's best match too. I typically don't really like her matches. She doesn't do anything for me, but this was a good match by her.
Yeah. I thought she showed some character. And Rosa sells her butt off every match she's in. So Rosa made her look good too, but
I think it was also because Red Velvet was working more heelishly because Rosa's obviously the face. I don't like Red Velvet as a face. She just kind of seems blah, like she's dull to me. But as a heel, like she was kind of like just kind of cocky, like the stir it up thing. It's better when it's like you're rubbing it in someone's face versus just doing it for a thing to do. Like when you're a heel doing that, then you seem like a jerk, and that's interesting. Like she did a good job.
Now, excuse me, I'm tongue tied here. The announcers always say like, "Oh, well, Thunder, she never lost the title. She never lost the title," which is true.
Yeah.
How, like, obviously they're saying that to keep her in the title hunt. Like, when she is like, I'm sure she's very close to 100%, but when she's back into like 100% work mode too, do you let her like exercise the right to the rematch right away? Like, do you build, like, how would you do it?
I would kind of build to it because
same here.
Especially her and Toni Storm, as far as I know, don't really have. If Toni Storm's the champion when that happens, they don't really have anything, at least like that I know of. They don't have any history,
right?
So I would like them to build something.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wouldn't want her just. I mean, and I know that's former champion's right. Like she does have that right if we're going by wrestling rules, which also that book has many pages in it. So.
Yes. CM Punk just walks in and goes, "Wait a second, excuse me."
Right? Yeah. Yes. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think it needs to build, but I think it's going to sound bad when I say this because it sounds like I'm saying that she's not ready, but she is ready. But you wait till she's back in that 100% ring shape.
Right. She likes to get like a year off or something. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't rush this at all.
Yeah.
Do you see her at Wembley? I think you have.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Because she didn't get to do it last time.
And she's, I mean, what a show that's going to be.
Wembley's going to be massive. Like, even if everybody's healthy, hopefully, it's going to be massive.
And the people that could potentially have signed by then.
Yeah. It's going to be nuts.
Sting and Darby had a little in-ring with Tony Schiavone, and Darby makes the challenge to Ricky and Big Bill for tomorrow night. I keep saying tomorrow. It's not Friday. Excuse me.
Saturday.
Saturday.
Well, depends when you listen to this. It could be tomorrow night. You have no idea.
Well, yeah, we're gonna post tomorrow, so it could be. Anyways, for Saturday.
Already happened. I don't know.
That's true. If you're listening, and I instantly said to you, the winner of this match determines how Sting's career ends. But then you brought up an even better point. So
yeah, I think they're going to win the tag titles because I don't think they're going to go in. I think they want to go to Sting's last match with Sting being undefeated.
Yeah, I agree.
And they kind of want to pull is he going to have an undefeated career in AEW or is he going to lose this one? So I think they win the tag titles, and I think that makes sense.
Yeah, agreed.
You want Sting to win a title, and that makes sense. That's cool. I don't know what happens with the Bucks. I think it was Meltzer who said, and I agree with, surprisingly, that Like Tony Khan's just going to let Sting do whatever he wants. If Sting wants to leave undefeated, he's going to get to leave undefeated. If Sting wants to lose his last match, he's going to lose his last match. It's going to be up to him pretty much.
And he deserves that right.
Yeah.
Now, in my messed up little head, I figure if they win, or when they win, because I think they're going to win, because like you said, like you put a belt on Sting any chance you have. And then I was thinking they beat the Bucks to throw the curveball, but Sting still retires, but Darby just defends them himself until he physically can't do it anymore.
Yeah, that would be cool. I hope they do clarify that no matter what happens, if they win the belts, and I think they will, I hope they clarify that no matter what happens, he's still retiring.
Right. Yeah.
Because that gets kind of confusing if they're tag team champions and people think, oh, if they win that last match, is that no longer his last match? Because then that kind of takes the shine off of his last match. They have to specifically point out, like, even if they're tag team champions, when that match ends, he's still retiring.
And then, like, there's so many things you could do. Like, you know, you could have, I said, Darby just defend them on his own. You could give him Adam Copeland, like give him just another legend.
Or you could have people like try to become his partner. Like various people want to be his partner because they want to be a tag team champion.
Yeah, like people just help. Like that would be cool.
Like they're trying to impress him. Like they try to do something to help him out, so he'll pick them or something. Yeah.
In a lot of ways, that's gonna be interesting to see how they do that. And I cannot wait. Well, the Bang Bang Scissor Gang is pretty official, and they have the second coolest entrance in AEW.
We were talking about Thunder Rosa's theme and how we didn't like the change. The Bang Bang Gang's change to this theme is amazing.
It's so good.
I've just been listening to it like on my own at home. It's great.
It is a very good song.
It's so cool. It fits them perfectly. I think they are kind of phasing out the Bullet Club and kind of just being the Bang Bang Gang, which is fine.
Yeah.
But like it fits them. The entrance looks so cool with them in the spotlight with the camera spinning around them and them spinning like it looks so cool. Like the Guns went from being like nobodies to like some of the coolest guys on the show. Like they've done a great job. You know, Jay White is cool, obviously. Like it looks great. It sounds great. I kind of hoped that Max would rap over the new theme because that would be fun. But I get that they want to still use the Acclaim theme. But other than that, it was cool.
And it was such a good 6-man. I just had a couple notes. Bowens is probably, in my opinion, the most underrated like wrestler on the roster. Everything that he does is so sound and smooth, and you know, if he does a drop kick or chain wrestling, like you could show that to somebody learning and be like, do it that way and you'll be fine.
Yeah, they're just like so over with their characters that you don't think about their wrestling.
Right. So good. And Nana going through the table, I hated to see it. Boy, was it great. It was so good. It just had to happen.
So how long do you think this Bang Bang Scissor Gang lasts? Because there's always a part of me that thinks the Bullet Club's going to turn on them.
Right. And as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, okay. Maybe they're not going to phase the Bullet Club out. Because then, like, you can have them. I don't know. I hope they run with it for a minute. Just because it's fun.
Yeah. Like, well, what someone pointed out to me online, I forget who it was now. I really need to write these things down. It was on this guy. Sorry if I don't remember you. But what does Billy go with them when they turn? If the Bullet Club turns on them, does Billy go with them? Does he stay with his kids?
Oh, see, there's wrinkles already.
There's a wrinkle there of like, oh yeah, we split up, but like, now I remember how cool it is to like hang out with my sons. So that was like, I chose you guys last time, but sorry, I have to go back to my actual children now.
Or, you know, does the Bullet Club or whatever, to separate them, I'm going to say the Bullet Club, do they get jealous of the Acclaim because they have the AEW trios and they only have the Ring of Honor trios?
Yeah, I want to know what's going on with that because it is weird that there's 2 trios belts. I know that the Ring of Honor ones already existed.
Right.
But it's a little strange, especially because they're in the same faction now. It's a little odd.
Yeah. Is there going to be 12-man belts? Like, is this going to turn into? Is this going to turn into Japan?
Like, I feel like that's going somewhere. That they both have them and they're in the same group. I feel like that's going to lead to something.
Like maybe like some sort of like unification.
Either a unification or like, yeah, you're right. Someone getting jealous of the other one's titles, or like, I could see them being like, well, we're all champions here, and then them being, well, actually, we're AEW champions,
right?
Bit. And then like, no, the Ring of Honor titles are older. Like, I could see them doing, I could see that going somewhere.
So yeah, it's I like that. That's always an option, though.
Yeah. I do.
We got a Serena Deeb hype video. She's returning Saturday. Did they announce who she's wrestling?
I don't think so. I'm assuming it's going to be like a squash match.
Yeah, I probably right. Well, that's going to be 2 women's matches for Saturday.
There you go.
So far, too.
Serena Deeb is great. I'm happy.
Serena Deeb, yes. And I bet you she gets emotional either during the match or during her entrance.
Yeah, because she went through a lot.
Yes, she did. And she deserves it, and I'm glad that she's back.
Yeah.
And then our main event, Adam Copeland versus Minoru Suzuki.
Which doesn't even make sense to say.
Yeah. And well, we're gonna give Adam Copeland his flowers here. Anybody that ever said that the WWE style doesn't work everywhere, well, Adam Copeland proved that style works against the Japanese style very well.
Yeah, I mean he's obviously very good, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean he's perfected that style, but I mean he didn't look out of place. He didn't look lost. It worked very well for both. Like it gave Suzuki a little bit of a different look as opposed to what he's used to.
Did you notice the awkwardness of the camera? Because now that I noticed the crowd was small, the awkwardness of the camera when they went through the barrier, they didn't want to show the crowd, so they had like the camera above to like avoid showing the crowd.
And excuse me, and and Copeland smacking his head on the floor. Oh,
ouch! Yeah,
that just I heard it.
Yeah,
and it was just like sounded like someone dropped a bowling ball.
Yeah.
It was so gross. Anyway,
match.
It was a great match. It was a good show all around.
Well, while we're here, I wanted to bring up, what do you think of Adam Copeland in AEW so far?
Just like everybody else, like expectations were high for him because of who he was, and we only saw him ever in one place.
Yeah.
But there was a little bit of fear that there was going to be a lot of letdown. Yeah. And that's gone. Like there's no more fear. Like put him in the ring with anybody, and there's so many matches that I hope now happen. Like I want to see all of them.
Yeah, him and his matches have all been great.
Yes,
like better than I expected. You're right. I hope, and I don't think it is. I think it's continuing. I want to continue more of him and Christian, because I like him just having random matches, but this can't go on forever. I feel like that has to end in a few weeks. Like they have to wrap up the Cope Open thing and move on. Like it's cool, but it can't go on forever.
And especially like it started with, young talent. And I mean, now he's at Minoru Suzuki. Like,
right.
There's not many higher he could go. Like, I mean, maybe Mox or Danielson next. Like he said it's still open for next week. So we'll see.
Yeah.
That's just a fun storyline too.
But wrestling wise, he's been great. His promo this week about this match was great.
Yeah.
He has like the right kind of intensity that makes it seem real, even though it's obviously not real, but it makes it seem like he cares so much about every match. Like it's cool.
And just this run is, I mean, it's going to be a Sting type run.
Yeah.
This is great. What a time.
This was an interesting episode of Dynamite because everything about it I enjoyed, but it didn't have like I know it's the first week of the rankings and the pay-per-view is not for a while, so I totally understand why, but it didn't seem to have like a story to the show, or like what's going to make you watch next week. Like I know that they did the Hangman Swerve stuff for next week, and they obviously announced matches for next week, but it was weird that like the main event was kind of just like a one-off. Usually the main event is like continues into next week, or or it's a continuing story, but it wasn't. It was kind of just like a one-off thing. Like there's no storyline between Suzuki and Copeland,
right?
Nor should there be. So it was kind of a weird show because it was a lot of individual matches that were good but didn't fit into a greater storyline. But it does make sense, like you pointed out with the rankings. Like they're trying to reestablish these rankings as meaning something, so they kind of have to do that. And sometimes meaningless matches matter. Like if it's a real sport, like not every football game is against two storied rivals. Sometimes it's two teams who have no history and they just have to play because they're scheduled to play. So it works.
Yeah, it was all around fun show. I enjoyed it, and I'm already looking forward to next week, and I'm really looking forward to Collision on Saturday.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Do you have any closing thoughts, my friend?
Not really. I don't have much else to say.
Same here. I mean, we covered a lot. Everybody, thank you. The support has been awesome. Like I can't even put it into words. People of Threads, you're the best. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I keep forgetting people's names because I've had some good interactions with people on both Threads and Blue Sky in the last couple of weeks.
Same.
Like, good conversations. I'm bad at remembering people's usernames, but it's been fun.
Yeah, and
it's nice to have like a community because of the flaming dumpster fire that Twitter became. It's nice to have sort of people to talk to again about stuff and not just turn into like random swearing. So it's good.
Yeah. There's a lot less random swearing. That should be Threads tagline. Come to Threads. There's a lot less random swearing.
You won't be cursed out as often by strangers.
Yes. But yeah, all the new people, like the interactions have been fun. Thank you for subscribing and sharing and liking. Please keep that up. It helps the product. And just for the kind words in general, it's been really cool.
And it's just fun. It's nice to talk about wrestling to people. We like talking about wrestling. That's why we're here. So hit us up. But yeah, so until next week, we'll see you on the other side. So later.